everyone. This is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. And on our journey in our 60s, we're looking to reinvent ourselves and to make connections that are going to push things forward for us. And my guest today is John Tarnoff. He is a career development consultant and also a speaker and an educator. And he has an interesting background in the entertainment and media business, and also has reinvented himself sort of as a lifestyle, I think. So, John, welcome to the show.
Hi, Margaret.
It's really great to have you here. And I've read your bio, and you have done a lot in your life. And we'd like to pick your brain about how you've used, social networks and also the networking groups that are around these days to kind of help you make these transitions as you reinvent and rediscover, stages of your life.
Sure. Well, I come to this out of the media and entertainment business, which is where I worked as a executive and a film producer and a technology entrepreneur for 35 years now, and got into education about 4 years ago full time, working with the university program here in Los Angeles, and really focusing in on the boomer generation and how we need to reinvent ourselves because we are as a generation, we're kind of challenged by the fact that we're going to be living longer. Society sees us as overpriced, too old, and out of touch. And I think it's time for us to really reverse that view and reverse the negative view that we have about ourselves and forward into a new way. And networking and social media is the great salvation, I think, for us.
I agree.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but we are the generation that perfected doing our homework, listening to the radio, and watching TV at the same time. So I don't abide by this idea that we cannot understand technology, that we're too old to understand technology. So I think all of us in the generation need to take advantage of these great tools that are out there.
Don't you think, in a way, that boomers, I certainly from a woman's perspective, feel that we're kind of natural networkers, that we do understand the concepts, but the ways that we used to communicate with each other, going to the park or going to the shop or, handing in a paper resume, connecting with someone face to face, that those, even though we're natural at doing that, that isn't the world anymore. So what is the world of digital tools?
It's ironic. I think that our kids who would prefer to text us than pick up the phone and call us, which just annoys us.
I know.
And I've kind of had to, accept it. I think that they are, in a funny way, not as good at networking as we are for the reasons that you stated. So, we're all about picking up the phone. And I think that picking up the phone is good, but we now have a lot of other options that can really leverage our ability to connect with people.
So let's talk about networking tools. Give us a few that you would suggest we get good at.
Well, I think that to this point about reaching out and connecting to people and putting our best foot forward and having that, that gift of gab, that ability to connect with people to, as our parents said, shake someone's hand firmly and look them in the eye.
Yep.
I am shocked at the number of people who do not have photos on their social media profiles, particularly on LinkedIn.
Yes.
And I hear people say, "Oh, well, privacy. I'm concerned about privacy." And I'm thinking, really? In an ironic way, in the social media digital world, transparency is the new privacy. If you put all of the details, not the pictures of you drunk and whatever. Like we're going to do that. But
who has pictures of that?
Who cares about whether we have a picture or not? The people who want to connect with us want to be able to see who they're connecting with.
So picture on LinkedIn is important, and LinkedIn is a great tool.
And your bio. LinkedIn is the great tool for our generation. Facebook to a certain extent, more on the social side, but LinkedIn professionally, and we have to fill in those LinkedIn profiles. When I'm connecting with someone that I'm going to be doing business with, I want to know where they went to school. I want to know what jobs they had. I want to know what languages they speak, where they've traveled, all of these preferences and ideas. I want to know what groups they belong to on LinkedIn. I want to see if they are compatible with me. And this is the virtue of social networking, is to find the compatibility out there and find people who have the same voice, the same ideas, the same affinities as we do. That's how we're going to get the jobs, is if we find those people and make those people part of our network.
And I think it's not just the people that you connect with, but the people that they know. And if, for example, you're trying to start a business or move into a job that perhaps is something new to you, you may be looking for someone to fill a gap, to fill a skill that you perhaps don't have. What do you think about blogging? And, if someone wants to sell a service like you do, for example, what do you think about that? Do we have an affinity with that as boomers?
I certainly think we do. I think that many of us, me included, when I started out, are thinking, what am I going to blog about? What do I have to say? I read all this stuff, but I don't know what I would say. And it's a process. Blogging may not be for everyone, but I would guarantee you that all of us have points of view. Yeah. Each of us has something to say. And part of this reinvention process that I'm so keen on for our generation is figuring out what it is that we have to say. It may be fishing, it may be, taking photographs of, flowers in the gardens of the neighborhood that we live in. There may be something that we do that we're interested in that we don't even realize is, for lack of a better word, bloggable, right? Yeah. Something to express who we are.
And also something that someone else can learn from. I mean, we had, I did a post, which was 60 things that older women want younger women to know. And it was just very simple things. It wasn't, learn how to, do something technical. It was really just an insight that we can share in our writing. So storytelling or, even writing a biography that shares your experiences, mentoring younger women, I think is really important.
I think being of service to the community and having this attitude of service is really key. So one of the things I would suggest that people do, and this is how I turned my focus towards this boomer reinvention question and what's our generation going to do, is start subscribing to news feeds that fit this particular interest of yours. On Google Alerts, and set up a set of Google Alerts on a handful of topics that relate to this interest. See what comes in. See what you think about this. Go onto the websites. Make comments. Engage with people. See if this fits, right? Comfortable with this. See if this is a inspiring avenue for you to pursue as part of the development of your voice and your brand. And you never know. Something could happen. All of a sudden, you could find yourself working with a group of people or communicating with a group of people or networking in a way that completely turns your life around.
Yeah, because the currency isn't always money. I mean, the currency, the value is sometimes just being able to guide someone or help someone, further their lives. So I think that we've talked about networking to serve many different purposes. I mean, there's one just to have fun, to share with other people your interests. There's the LinkedIn, which is definitely for looking for work and connecting with people that could help you on that journey. And then of course there's networking with your friends and family, where you're being more intimate and more revealing. But if you were trying to start a business, as not looking for a job, but you were looking to start a business, what would you recommend?
There are great opportunities on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has some terrific search tools, groups that are focused on specific verticals. It's a great opportunity. But I think that it's back to this idea of act locally, think globally. To start a business, you really have to see what that need is that you're fulfilling, and define the product and define the market. These are the same old skills that we've used from time immemorial. The difference today is scale. It's just easier and faster to reach a target audience using digital tools than it's ever been before. So, the same foundational business principles apply to starting a small business, to being an entrepreneurial business owner.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of technical aspects to starting a business that people perhaps don't realize might be involved, whether you're selling a product or an idea. And I think that LinkedIn particularly has a lot of, like you said, groups that you can connect with, where people have those skills that you can, you throw a question out. I have this. I'm starting a business. I need to understand how to write articles or content management. There's groups that focus on that, where you can get advice. Are you a Twitter fan? Do you think Twitter helps with a small business?
I think Twitter is a way of getting your message out. I think it's a way of supporting your brand and your voice. I don't know that it is helpful necessarily in amassing tools to actually do your business. So I think it's an important outward platform.
So if you were starting a business today, what would it be, John? I mean, not if it was something other than what you're doing. What's your when you were stopped to think about what kind of business you might want to do that was?
So I guess one thing that I could do, and I've always been a photographer. So I could start a photography business online. I could be doing it any number of different ways. I could put up a website of photographs and try to sell the photographs on the website. I would link that website to all of the other public photo sites like Flickr or Google Photos. I would make the photos that I was interested in selling public. I would license them through photo sharing services like iStock, Getty Images, all of those platforms out there. Figure out all sorts of ways of doing that. And then, a lot of this today comes back to what's called inbound marketing, where you're actually building a mailing list of potential customers, getting them to buy in to your mailing list, and then messaging them consistently, not spamming them, but messaging them consistently with valuable content that they love to receive. So
No, so the reason I asked you that question, I know it was a little bit random, but what I really, and you did it beautifully actually, in terms of getting what I wanted, which is if you had an idea for a business, what would you do? And you listed all the social tools that you would use. And that's the way, I think that's the mindset, is that if you have a dream of doing a business, just think about, like, I would sell it here, I would market it here, I would connect with that, there's this service. And that's the social mindset, don't you think?
Absolutely. And the other thing I would say is Google is your friend. Really is. Yeah. There are some amazing tools on Google that help you understand who is searching for your product, right? So if you put yourself into the mindset of your customer and say, okay, if I wanted to buy this, or I had a particular need, how would I phrase that? So I mean, it's a big business, but if I were to be an art photographer, I would figure out a dozen different search terms that I would imagine people are going to use to find art photography. I would put them into Google. Google has a tool which lets you see how many people are actually searching on those terms. Right?
Exactly.
And you build it out from there. The other thing I would say about starting a business is that we live in a sharing economy where there's a lot of sharing going on of resources. A lot of people are putting up amazing software resources, business development resources for free that you can use to jumpstart your business, to learn more about the sector that you're trying to tap into and the ways of going about doing it. So tremendous resources available.
And we haven't even talked about YouTube, because YouTube is another place to go where there are people with really inspiring conversations about how they've made successes of their businesses, the challenges that they faced, mistakes they have made, and so it's almost something new every day coming there to help us.
I would also say on LinkedIn, back to LinkedIn for a second, is don't be afraid to reach out to people you think would never respond to you.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good advice.
You would be surprised who is willing to connect with you on LinkedIn. And this is why you have to have your profile completely filled out. And also, don't be afraid to revise your profile, to come up with a more updated description of who you are and what you do. Because guess what? People are searching on LinkedIn, and if you're developing a business, you want to make sure that your profile reflects the keywords that people would be searching for if they were looking to connect with people like you. So
so you've
there's
actually
a lot to this.
now you just come kind of full circle again, because it's back to mindset. It's basically once you have the confidence that what you're doing is valuable, that you've got something unique, or that you just love to do it, just don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and rethink what you're capable of.
We don't have the time to sit around, right? We cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought about this.
That is so true. Negativity it stifles you, kills you. John, this has been so helpful. Tell us about the resources that you offer, though. I do want people to know where they can go to learn more about your work.
So I really focus my work in two areas. One, kind of a B2C, business to consumer focus on boomerreinvention.com, which is really an aggregation of resources for boomers to think about in terms of the reinvention process, including my 5 stages of reinvention. And then the johntarnoff.com site is my coaching consulting site about workshops that boomers and organizations can use to bring boomers into the 21st century.
You know what I love about the work that you're doing is that you've actually walked the talk. That just having a chat with you, I can see that, you've gone through all those stages yourself. Your experience is grounded in reality, and it's been such a great conversation. No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, John. Thank you again.